This is a story about how we diagnosed a problem with our 2008 Jeep Patriot. It's a 2.4 liter engine, and it is a drive-by-wire system. The problem that we were having was there was a check engine light and a inability to accelerate. It would start and idle just fine, but when you tried to give it gas and get going, sometimes it would go, sometimes it wouldn't. And it was throwing a code. I'll have to look that code up. I don't recall what it was. We changed a wheel speed sensor, and that seemed to fix the problem, but then the problem came back. We diagnosed electronically with our code reader that there was some type of problem with the throttle position sensor. Since this is drive-by-wire, there is no throttle cable that opens up the throttle like there would be if you had a carburetor or an older vehicle. The computer controls that position so that it can get maximum fuel economy performance. So it has a sensor internally that knows how far this is open at all times. Okay, so there's a rheostat inside of there, and it feeds information back and forth to the computer. And then there's a motor, like a stepper motor, that can change this position so that it can maximize how your engine runs. Well, I cleaned it, took it off and cleaned it, put it back on. We got the same problem. It was sealed, so we used a screwdriver. We sort of pried this, kind of like a tin can, pried the housing open. It's not something that you can service. There's no screws to take it apart. It's a sealed unit. But we knew it wasn't working, so I decided to get fancy. And when you open it up, here it is. Here's the stepper motor. All right. It has a reduction gear. And then right here it has the electronics that read the position. Now, one thing you'll notice is when I turn this motor, this doesn't open, and it should. But everything looks okay. But you'll notice on the bottom side of this gear, it's a little bit chewed up. And then if you look in real close, you can see that the gear that connects it directly to the throttle plate is missing all the teeth. And so this vehicle had about 180,000 miles. And I guess that's all the longer plastic teeth last. I don't feel too bad. An aftermarket replacement. It wasn't tremendously expensive. Fit just right. It was difficult to get in there. It was kind of down under the front of the motor between the radiator and the engine. So it was kind of a fuss, but it bolted in, clipped on. We cleared the engine codes, and it has been running now for a good 9 months flawlessly. So we definitely were able to fix the throttle position sensor problem. It was not the sensor, it was actually the stepper motor drive gearing had failed. So it was actually a mechanical failure, not an electronic failure. I really like when I find a component that is obviously damaged or failed. Like that's the best, because then you know you have done something. The same when we replaced the wheel speed sensor, it was obviously rusted and separated and not located properly, so it wouldn't be picking up the signal it was supposed to. So we found problems that were definitely issues. We weren't just throwing random parts at things. I hate firing the parts cannon. It's expensive, and I'm not made of money. So when I find something like that, it really makes me feel great. And now you know what's going on inside of this if you ever have a problem with the throttle position sensor on this type of engine. And I will leave the code, I'll look up the code again, and I will leave it in the description. So if you're searching for how to repair, you'll find this video. Thanks for watching. And just in case you thought that this video doesn't apply to you, this is from a 99 Subaru Outback, and it is essentially the same part, different outlet, but the same number of 6 terminals, and it certainly has a stepper motor here, a gear, and a throttle position sensor built in, another fly-by-wire. By 1999, they were using these on many foreign and domestic automobiles. So if you get a code that's talking about a throttle position sensor, this is going to be the kind of part that you're into replacing. And it has a pretty stout spring-loaded return, so a lot of cycles right off of idle have worn those teeth down to bits, and there was some grease on it still after all that time.